Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm doing a Master Duel Yubel deck profile. So I'm really excited to do something for you guys because this deck is an extremely powerful deck to play on Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, and currently one of the best decks to play on Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of our notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name description in a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Spirit of Yubel. Spirit of Yubel is definitely a 3-of in the build, and one of the most powerful cards in the entire deck. It cannot be destroyed by battle, also you take no battle damage from battles involving this card, and if this card is destroyed, you can special summon one of your Yubels that's banished in your hand, deck, or graveyard, which is such a powerful effect to instantly get Yubel out to your side of the field. Also, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if this card is special summoned, you can add to your hand or set a spell or trap from your deck that mentions Yubel, which is amazing to be able to get to your copy of Nightmare Pain. We then play a single copy of the original Yubel. Yubel is really good as a combo piece in the deck, but you only need a single copy of this card. We then play a single copy of Yubel Terror Incarnate. Terror Incarnate is such a powerful card because you can special summon this card out to your side of the field, all at the effect of the original Yubel, which is such a cool ability to help you get additional materials out on your side of the field so you can keep going in for your plays. We then play 3 copies of Samsara D Lotus. Samsara is such a powerful card. It's basically a 1-card combo for the deck, and this card is really cool because you can tribute this card to special summon a Yubel monster from your deck, which is a really powerful effect to summon out your copy of Spirit of Yubel. Also, during your opponent's turn, when a monster effect is activated while you control a Yubel monster, quick effect, you can tribute this card, and the activated effect becomes destroy Yubel monster on the field, which is a great ability to be able to basically change a monster's effect and use this card as a disruption. Also, during your end phase, if you control a Yubel and this card's in the graveyard, you can actually add this card to your hand or special summon it to your side of the field, which is an amazing ability just to instantly get this card out on the field. We then play 3 copies of Gruesome Grave Squirmer. Gruesome Grave Squirmer is such a powerful extender for the deck that this card has the ability, if you control a Fiend monster, quick effect, you can special summon this card in the hand, then you can destroy Yubel or a monster that mentions it in your monster zone. You can also banish this card in the graveyard to special summon a Fiend monster with 0 attack and defense from your hand or graveyard, except another copy of this card, which is a great ability just to basically use this card as a monster reborn. We then play 3 copies of Dark Beckoning Beast. Dark Beckoning Beast is one of the best normal summons in the entire deck, outside of your copy of Samsara D Lotus, because when this card is normal summoned, you can add a card that mentions the Sacred Beast from your deck to your hand, which you're always searching your copies of Opening of the Spirit Gates off this card's effect. This card also, during the main phase, gives you an additional normal summon of a Fiend monster with 0 attack and defense points in addition to your normal summoner set, letting you summon out cards like Samsara D Lotus or Gruesome Grave Squirmer directly from your hand to your side of the field, or summoning another copy of this card to your side of the field so you can get 2 monsters out on the field so you can go in for a link play. We then play just a single copy of Shavara. You only need a single copy of this card in the deck, but it's really good to be able to summon that to your side of the field, because during the main phase, if this card's in your hand, quick effect, you can target a Fiend monster or a face down card you control, destroy it, and if you special summon this card, but while it's in the monster zone, you can't special summon anything but Fiends, and if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can send an Unchained Spell or Trap directly from your deck to your side of the field, which is going to let it summon our copy of, or set our copy of Abominable Chamber, which is amazing. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is definitely a 3-of in the deck, basically just to stop the opponent from touching the deck. We then also play 3 copies of Nibiru. Nibiru is just amazing to be able to use as a board breaker against the opponent, and it's just a really powerful card in this particular build. We then also play 3 copies of Maxi. Maxi is just really good because it is a Master Duel deck profile. You guys know we got to play Maxi because it's the most powerful hand trap ever created, because every time the opponent special summons, we get to draw a card, which is so cool. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Crossout Designator. Crossout Designator is definitely a one-of in the build, basically just to stop the opponent from using hand traps like Max C or cards like Ash Blossom. We then play 2 copies of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is definitely a 2-of in the deck to basically just stop the opponent from hand trapping us, just like our copy of Crossout Designator. We then play 2 copies of Nightmare Pain. You only need 2 copies of this card because it is searchable in the deck, which is why I just play 2 in this particular build, because you can search it off your copy of Spirit of Yubel. So this card is amazing in the deck, but I feel like 2 is really all you need because it is searchable, but it's really good in the deck because it's almost like a draconic diagram, because during your main phase, you can actually destroy a dark monster in your hand or face up on the field, and if you do, add a Yubel or a card that mentions it from your deck to your hand, except another copy of this card, and you'll use effect this card once per turn. Also, while you control a Yubel monster, your opponent's monsters that can attack must attack Yubel monsters, and your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken from battles involving your Yubel monsters, which is hilarious if they don't out the Nibiru token, and it's massive. We then play 3 copies of Nightmare Throne. Nightmare Throne is one of the most powerful cards in the entire deck, and definitely a 3-up. So when this card is activated, you get to take a Fiend monster with 0 attack and defense from your deck, and either add it to your hand or destroy it. And once per turn, if a face-up Yubel monster that you control leaves the field by an opponent or by a card effect at all, you can actually add to your hand a Yubel monster from your deck, graveyard, or banishment, whose original level is 1 level higher or 1 level lower than that monster, that you can special summon it, ignoring its summoning conditions, which is a great ability. We then play 3 copies of Opening of the Spirit Gates. 3 copies is really good in this particular build because this card lets you add your copy of Dark Beckoning Beast from your deck to your hand, which is a great effect. You can also use the ability once per turn. You can discard a card to special summon a Fiend monster with 0 attack and defense from your graveyard to your side of the field. And also once per turn, if you control a level 10 monster, you can actually add a continuous spell from your graveyard to your hand, being able to recover your copy of Nightmare Pain just in case it gets destroyed. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're just going to be playing a few, starting off with Eternal Favorite. Eternal Favorite is definitely a 1-of the deck. It's basically a trap version of Super Polymerization. This card has the ability once per turn you can activate one of these effects, but you can only use each effect of Eternal Favorite once per turn. That you can special summon one of your Yubel monsters that's banished or in your graveyard, but neither player can activate effects when that monster is special summoned. Or if you already control Yubel, you can discard a card to send this face-up card to the graveyard to fusion summon a fusion monster from your extract using monsters from either player's field as material, including a Yubel monster, and then you step into your copy of the Loving Defender Forever. We then play a single copy of Abominable Chamber. This card is searchable off your copy of Shavara, and just really good because it lets you special summon an Unchained monster from your hand or graveyard, which is a really cool effect. We then also play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, just to basically stop your opponent's monster effects, and also have more hand traps in the deck to be able to stop the opponent. And this card also locks down entire columns of spells and traps, which is amazing. This card is definitely a 3-of in the build. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with Phantom of Yubel. This card is definitely a 2-of in the build. You really don't need 3 copies of this card, but it's amazing to be able to summon because it takes a copy of Yubel plus a Fiend monster with 0 attack and defense, and you don't even have to use Polymerization to summon out this card. This card must be special summoned from your X deck by shuffling the above cards from your hand, field, and or graveyard into the deck or the X deck, and cannot be used as fusion material. It cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, you take no battle damage from battles involving this card, and when your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can tribute this card, and the activated effect becomes your opponent destroys a Yubel monster in their hand, deck, or field, which is a really powerful effect to be able to destroy cards in your deck, to be able to basically counter your opponent using this card as a disruption, and it's just such a powerful card. Again, I don't feel like you need 3 copies of this card. I feel like 2 is totally fine. We'll play a single copy of Yubel, the Loving Defender Forever. This card is definitely a 1-of the build to be able to use with our copy of Eternal Favorite. This card does massive burn damage to the opponent, has the ability, if this card is fusion summoned, you can inflict 5 points of damage to your opponent for each material used, which is such a powerful ability for this card to have. And also, it cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects. Also, you take no battle damage from battles involving this card. And at the end of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster, inflict damage to your opponent, equal that monster's attack points, and if you do, banish that monster. And this card is just absolutely massive and just really cool to be able to summon out to your side of the field, and really cool because it can just attack over massive monsters, and really cool to summon summon out because it does require Yubel, any Yubel monster plus effect monsters, and it can take as many effect monsters you want to put in this card so it can do massive damage. We then play a single copy of Typhon. Typhon's just so easy to summon and just really easy to summon this particular build, going second to basically just bounce a card and be a skill drain, especially since a bunch of our monsters have 0 attack and defense. It's very easy to make this card work in the deck and just a really cool card. We play a single copy of Nightmare Griffin so we can Griffin lock the opponent, which is really easy to do with a copy of Mudracker and just really cool to be able to do. We play a single copy of Access Code to be able to pop multiple cards on the field and come out absolutely massive. We play a single copy of Appaloosa. Appaloosa is really good to be able to make in this deck, to have multiple monster negates on the field. It's just a really cool card overall. Play a single copy of Unchained Abomination. Unchained Abomination is very easy to make and pops 3 cards for absolutely no reason. It just pops cards for breathing, which is absolutely hilarious, and it's very easy to climb into this card. Play a single copy of Anguish. Anguish is really good because you can link away your opponent's cards to make another link monster, which is really cool in how we climb into our Unchained Abomination. 1 copy of Unchained Soul of Rage. This card is a quick effect to link into a monster, which is really cool, using an opponent's card, which is amazing. Play a single copy of Yama. You really only need a single copy of Yama in this deck. This card is amazing because it's a special summon. You get to add your copy of Shavara from your deck to your hand, or your graveyard to your hand, which is a great ability to recover your copy of Shavara so you can go in for more plays. Also, if a card you control is destroy a battle by card effect, while this card's in the graveyard, you can banish the card to special summon a fiend monster from your hand or grave. Then you destroy a card you control, which is such a powerful effect for Yubel. We then play a single copy of SP Little Knight. SP Little Knight is just amazing to make because it's a double interruption. If you don't have this card, you can change it out easily for a copy of like a Nightmare Unicorn if you need to, which is another fiend monster, but it's really easy to make in Master Duel and a fantastic staple to generate. We then play a single copy of Mudracker. Mudracker is really good to be able to make in this build, so we can basically Griffin lock the opponent. You make this card in the extra monster zone, then you make your copy of your Nightmare Griffin under this card to basically Griffin lock the opponent. We can play a single copy of Cross Sheep since we do go into Phantom of Yubel, so this card just revives cards back in the graveyard, and then finally make a single copy of Alamirage. Alamirage is just amazing to make in this deck. So that's it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a Yubel deck before, you definitely should give this deck a try, especially since we basically have the entire deck now in Master Duel, which is crazy powerful and probably one of the most powerful decks in Master Duel now. This deck is super fun to be able to play, and again, definitely give this deck a try. So that's good for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can come part of our notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.